Hey y'all, welcome back to Larry's Lessons, and this is your Monday Mirror, your blind spot of the week, identification. So I want to talk to y'all about something that my favorite college professor used to talk about all the time, and that is people who want to do our thinking for us. And I've been really thinking about that this weekend because of everything that's happening online with tarot readers leaving tarot, or people converting to Christianity, or witch talk arguing about, you don't need to be over here, you need to be on hoodoo talk, and people deciding who belongs where and who should be practicing what. And all of that is interesting, but underneath the thing is the blind spot of the week. Identification. Because once you start to identify with something strongly enough, you will stop to experience that thing as simply a belief or a community or a practice or a thought or an emotion or as a way of even understanding yourself. And you will begin to experience it as a part of you. And baby, you gotta watch that, because identification is not just saying like, oh, I like this thing, or I believe this thing, right? Identification is when the thing begins participating in the construction of who you believe yourself to be. And that's why I think it's interesting to listen to what comes after the words I am, or what comes after the words my. I am a Christian. I am a witch. I am a tarot reader. I am successful. I am anxious. My anxiety, my religion, my beliefs, my depression, my spirituality, right? Those words don't necessarily mean that there's a problem, but they can show you where something has been like attached to your sense of self. And once something becomes part of yourself, once you take that in, anything that threatens that thing can feel like a threat to you. That is why somebody leaving a religion or somebody leaving tarot can make people who stay in that thing angry, right? That's why somebody walking away from tarot can suddenly have everybody who still reads tarot in an uproar. And this is where people wanting to do our thinking for us becomes dangerous, because a lot of the beliefs we defend the hardest were handed to us before we were even old enough, before we were conscious enough, or before we were even independent enough to decide whether they were actually true for us. But baby, let me put your boots on for you, because it does not stop there, right? Sometimes you do get older and you leave the things that you were handed. You look around, you explore, you wrestle with yourselves, right? And then you eventually happen up on something that feels right. It feels like home. It gives you a centralized compass. And there's a very human relief that comes with that, because you can now say, okay, cool, bet. I found something that works for me. I found what I believe. I have found my truth. And identification can slip right back on through that back door as well, because it's slick. And that is where self-inquiry starts getting uncomfortable, because sometimes people think that inquiry is supposed to lead you to the truth with a capital T, and then you finally get to sit your ass down somewhere and be done. But baby, that ain't how that works, okay? Because the truth you arrive at today may be true for you today, and then in 5 years from now, you question that truth again and discover that it belonged to a version of you that no longer exists, right? And then the ego does not always enjoy that possibility, that variability, because why? The ego likes a foundation. It likes to know what it is standing on. So once we become identified with something, we start looking for things that reinforce that identification. We notice the evidence that supports it. We surround ourselves with people and community that agree with it and us. And then somebody simply saying, well, I'm still looking, or I'm still investigating, or I don't know yet, can become threatening. It can feel like a threat, because another person's willingness to keep questioning reminds us that the thing that we have decided is settled for us may not actually have to be settled. And for some people, that idea alone is terrifying. So now the question becomes, well, damn, Larry, if you're always questioning everything, then what do you believe? Like, where do you land? So the Monday Mirror this week is not simply, what do you believe? It is, what have you decided that you are done questioning, and why? Y'all be good this week. Be good to yourself and be good for yourself.